Don't miss a closer look at June's White Dwarf featuring Knights and the new Age of Sigmar.
Spiky bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Baer, and I'm super stoked to break this White Dwarf down for you. It comes with two massive posters, which right there is probably reason enough to shell out the, I don't even know, how much is this thing now? $9 US. I guess it's about the same, never mind. $9 US for this bad boy. Like I said, I feel like posters in it just make it worth the money. That's it. Stop watching. There's nothing else to say about this issue. I'm just kidding. Alright, so once we get it open, there's a nice little easy tear strip right there, and it comes right out as like so. And it's actually pretty well protected, but when you look at yours, if you're going to buy one, make sure that the edges aren't dinged. There is a protective little kind of piece on the back here, but unfortunately I didn't check that, and mine, I turned them right side up. But my posters came a little dinged. It's okay, no big deal. I'm still going to hang them up because they're cool, but I'm going to save y'all the hassle. So the posters themselves are the new Soul Wars box set, I guess, art that we saw at Warhammer Fest. So that's kind of neat. And then on the back, it's got the different realms, kind of breaking them down and a little bit more than what is in the White Dwarf this month, which I thought was pretty cool. Definitely worth it if you're a Age of Sigmar or fan of the Mortar realms, so to speak. And then the new Knight cover, or I guess the old Knight cover, but the new Knight, I don't know. It's the same art, it's the same cover, it's just bigger and better, and there it is. Nice big size poster, definitely, like I said, worth your cheddar. And on the inside is all the different night houses, so very conveniently laid out. One might say it might even be worth picking up two of these so you can have both sides of it going over the structure of the night house and such. Now this, more on this maybe in the collector set. Actually, I think it's in the normal one right there. And then back to the White Dwarf itself. We're not even that far in. It's so exciting. So we've got this bad boy right here. And it is chock full of goodies. They actually didn't put the credits for the writers in the front in order to give everyone more space to kind of check it out, see what's happening here, figuring in prominently the new re-release of the terrain piece they brought back, the old Gardens of Moor down there and everything. Got so much stuff to see. Then it goes over and breaks down the Lands of Fire a little bit, or the Mortal Realms a little bit more, and gets into the index themselves and briefly talks on the Soul Wars. Again, the credits are in the back for the folks that are on the White Dwarf staff. So then you get to this area right here, and it's going to talk about all the new stuff, the new releases and everything. And actually, it seems like they didn't have a solid date locked in. They knew it was going to be June, but they didn't know exactly when, because they're like, comes out this month. So we didn't, obviously we know now it's the end of the month and it's all good in the hood. So there's the content. So a lot of good stuff in here. We're going to try to hit the high points. There's only a couple of scattered paint articles, so don't expect any paint splatter. But like I said, anytime you get a poster, I feel like it's worth it. So great new looks at the Night Haunt models. Now these are all ETB. You've probably heard that already. If I had to guess, we're gonna see multi-part kits of these, just like we saw for the last Age of Sigmar starter, just like we saw for the 40k starter. So I would imagine, don't go too hard in the paint on these minis, because like I said, I imagine there's gonna be the full-on kits available at some point for them as well. Then we've got the General's Handbook, the Age of Sigmar core book, which, if it follows the tradition of last year's Dark Imperium box for 40k, this should release separately at some point, so you don't have to pick up the starter just to get it. But at first, if you want it, that's going to be the only way to get it. And then getting into the accessories area, we know about the Malign Sorcery box. It's going to come with the spells and all the actual models to represent the in-game reoccurring endless spells, I guess they call them. The new combat gauge, little metal piece. This thing used to be $30 when it first came out. For the first release of Sigmar, I don't know what it's going to be now. They don't have any pricing, and they don't have any release dates in here, which is it's all very dynamic. It was all very fluid. Of course, they prep these things a lot, in the past, so it could be that they just didn't even know at that point. Then you've got the objectives, and again, the couple of sets of easy to build. Now we thought these might be Shadespire sets because the bases were so well done. It turns out they're just extra models, kind of like we saw with the Dark Imperium 40K release. It came out with you know, the stuff like what was it? We affectionately call it Dirty Mike and the Boys, but and then the easy to build aggressors and things like that. The Death Guard had an additional 3-pack that came out easy to build. So there's other things that came out after the 40K release, but I was actually surprised to see these. I just imagined that they would have been some sort of perhaps Shadespire kit that they could have released separately. I don't know, but if you want to buy extra models, extra ETB models, well, you certainly can. Again, don't know the pricing on them quite yet. Out this month. Very, very rare that we see something like that. And then, of course, Knights are this weekend. Everybody has seen this stuff by now. They're, for the first time, general release data sheet cards, which is very exciting. The 2 different Warglaves, the Hellverns come out next week. Then you got the Valiant, the Mechanicus Forge Shrine, which these same sprues minus these accessory sprues up here with the Prometheum Pipeline accessory sprue. This was actually an objective. This was from one of the what was that? The little tractors. I forget what they're called. The Sector Mechanicus Terrain with the tractor and the crane set. That's actually from one of the vehicles, as is the fire extinguisher in the toolbox. It's on here somewhere. So the rest of the sprues actually come in the Renegade box, but if you want the air quotes Forge Shrine, you gotta have, I guess, these accessories. I don't know. I don't feel like you have to have them, but you could build this out of the Renegade box in theory, but the Renegade box comes with a larger gantry piece, which you can actually see right here. So you get the same stuff, but you also get extra pieces, the straight gantries. You get an extra sprue in there, and then this half sprue is not included. The Imperial Knight Battle Gauge, we're going to show you all this stuff in a separate unboxing video, of course. And, oh, they didn't show the data cards or the data sheets. Those will be a separate video, of course, when we get them in our hot little hands. But as of right now, that's where we're at. Latest from Forge World, the Lunaran Terminator squads. We saw Alfarius, we saw the Termite as well. All of those are separate videos here on the channel as well, so check those out. Licensed games, looks like they got some, or licensed products, they got some shot glasses coming out. They don't call them shot glasses though, but I think we all know what they are. Combat cards, and it looks like a game called Mechanicus. Had we heard of that? I don't know. I don't remember. I know there's a Titanicus, but now we have a Mechanicus. And a couple of Black Library. They actually have the first chapter from Soul Wars in this book that you can check out. War Secrets from Phil Kelly, In the Darkness, The Darkness in the Glass, and Martyrs of Elysia, as well audio books that I think are out this week, if I'm not mistaken, with the Hellvern release. So there are all of our catching you up to current events and stuff coming out at the end of the month. But wait, there's more. Lots more, in fact. So we've got a battle report in here. It's a rather large one for the new Age of Sigmar. It's very, very prominent in here. The game board looks amazing. It's got this big kind of Minas Tirith kind of built up board here in the back that looks spectacular. Haven't had a chance to read through it. It is quite long. Well, I guess it's about as long as the normal one. And then they got the little preview with the breakdown of exactly what's coming in, all 52 miniatures, which is exactly what we saw with the Dark Imperium for 40k. And all of that stuff there. War Scroll cards, so it looks like they've been listening to the clamorings out there for War Scroll cards. I love War Scroll. I love the game aids. Give me more game aids. Help me play my games faster and better. Malign Sorcery, General's Handbook, and the core rule book as well, coming out as a separate release, but I would imagine later on, because they do want to sell those Soul Wars box, right? Then the Golden Demon Winners Challenges, we're not going to really talk about that. Going into the feature on the Knights, really great stuff in here. A lot of stuff on the team that originally brought us the first night back in 2013, I believe it was. Jess and Tom and Dale did a great job, obviously, and now we've been able to get all these future Knights. You know, every year it seems like they're coming out with a new Knight, and I love it. They're great looking. Then there's a little fold-out section, little data sheet kind of area right there, and then right here they've got the centerfold, really neat kind of look at all the plastic Knights that are available currently. Very cool. And remember, we're going to see the Preceptor at some point. Here's the first chapter for Soul Wars that you can check out. There's rules in here. If you like the Renegade box, it looks to play very similar to what it did last time it came out. There's some data sheets in here. Blanchitsu again, doubling up on the Tor Megiddo big project there by a bunch of very excited hobbyists. That's always, I love seeing stuff like this, and especially with that background. You can, of course, watch our other video where, you know, I explained the whole background. Tor Megiddo, Har Megiddo, it's the plains in the mountains of Megiddo. Megiddo being in Israel. It's supposedly the place that Armageddon will occur according to the Bible. So really interesting. You know, this is all post-apocalyptic and everything like that. So it's a really neat kind of overtone to the whole thing that really kind of brings it all together. Because, you know, some people really like this hobby just based on the fluff, and having a really cool piece of fluff like that to really kind of bring in all this great dope conversion work based on the myriad of artwork by John Blanche himself. And he's just a legend. You know, I can't say enough good things about that man, of course. Amazing stuff, and it's really cool to see other folks being inspired by him thusly. Now, Last Stand at Grazer's Creek. You may recognize this picture. We saw this shortly after the Gamma retailers meeting back in spring, and a Warhammer community post where it was kind of like this and a little blurred out and a little at an angle, and you couldn't really tell what that was. And it led a lot of people to say, hey, that might be a new orc kit coming out, which, you know, quickly happened and spread all over the internet, and breaking it down and trying to give sizes. And, hey, that's not a Stampa. Hey, that might be a Stampa. It turns out it was just a conversion by Dan Harden based on a Dread Knight itself. And there's a better picture in here somewhere of it. And, of course, what's cool about Grazer's Creek is there was a battle report about 20 years ago in the White Dwarf, which I remember quite fondly, featuring the Praetorian Guardsmen, which I don't even think are available anymore, loosely based on Rorke's Drift, of course, you know, the big Zulu battle, way back in England's stories past, of course, and, you know, romanticized on the screen with a movie with, you know, such amazing actors as Sean Connery, and I think Michael Caine was in it as well. So amazing tie-ins all over the place for sure right there. And they kind of go over all of this, and then there's a better look at that conversion. So it turns out, not a new orc kit, unfortunately. But maybe next time. It was a good guess, I suppose. But there it is. And then we've got more stuff in here, too, to talk about. Really interesting that they talk about all of the wars of Armageddon. There's actually been 3 of them. And they do a little lore post. So it takes up a good chunk in here as well, I guess, kind of trying to make up for the lack of 40K. Well, I guess there was some on the Knights, but it's more geared to Age of Sigmar in here. And then the Knights themselves, oh, and there's a guide on how to play, getting started with the new Age of Sigmar. And I think the Knights, where is it? The Knights have a data sheet if you want to port over and play with some cool stuff from Knight Renegade. I forget where it is. But there are some additional rules in here. Here it is. So you can play with the Orcs, the larger Knights, the Castellan and the Valiant, and that looks to be about it. And then there's a White Dwarf mission for the Hobbit as well, exclusive there, and there's some more artwork and such for the Imperial Knights. And then it goes into readers' models, and once again, normal Space Marines, nowhere to be found. Only Primaris and some of those new Chaos releases as well. Unfortunately, I do like these conversions with Mark III helmets, though, on the Intercessors. They're looking fresh. And that's about it. No good teasers at the end. They have a little bit of a paint splatter right here at the end on how they painted Glazer's Farm with all the different colors from the battle report, you know, an homage to the first battle at Grazer's Creek and a follow-up on that. There's your preview for next month. And again, nothing to really be gleaned from this at this point, though we're hearing more and more rumors about when the Orc and Space Wolf release are coming, and they are supposedly later this summer / early fall. So that's all we know for now. But overall, I think if you were on the fence about buying this month's issue, you really shouldn't be, because it's got some great features and some even greater posters in it, and that right there does it for me, because, you know, you end up wanting these posters later on, and they're 20 bucks on eBay, and F that, right? So that is about it for this one. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Make sure to check out all the other videos that are coming out soon on the Knights, how to put them together, comparing and contrasting, talking about price points. We'll go over the Renegade box and see how it compares to the Renegade box rules and dollar-wise to the one that came out 2 years ago. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to comment when all those drop.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos,